She didn't even notice she was crying until the stranger knelt in front of her, gently placing a steaming cup of hot chocolate into her trembling hands. "Ma'am, you tried to help me. Let me help you now," he said softly, his voice cutting through the cold night air. Elena blinked through tears, unable to understand why anyone would show kindness to a woman sitting on a sidewalk with nothing but an empty wallet, a threadbare coat, and her sleeping daughter tucked inside her arms. The freezing wind cut against her skin, but the man's kindness stunned her more than the cold. She had nothing, nothing at all, yet she had still tried to help him. And now, somehow, he was helping her in ways she never expected. Don't forget to subscribe. Every week we bring real stories that remind us what humanity can still look like. Just minutes earlier, Elena had been standing inside the entrance of the grocery store, shivering as the warm air brushed over her. She wasn't there to shop. She didn't have a single dollar. She was only there because her daughter, Lily, needed shelter from the wind. Elena had lost her apartment 2 months earlier when her hours were cut at the diner. She had done everything: sold furniture, picked up shifts, babysat, cleaned houses, but nothing added up to enough. Eventually, the eviction came. And since then, she and Lily had been moving from bench to shelter to sidewalk, with Elena trying desperately to keep her daughter warm and fed. But tonight, she couldn't even buy food. Her wallet held nothing but a photo of Lily's first birthday, back when life felt possible, back when she believed things couldn't fall apart so fast. She stood near the automatic doors, trying to convince her daughter to be patient. "Mommy's trying, baby," she whispered. "Mommy's trying so hard." That was when she saw the man. He was sitting on the curb outside the store, head bowed, rubbing his temples like he was carrying the weight of the world. He was dressed neatly: gray slacks, a button-up shirt, and a coat that looked too expensive for someone in distress. Everything about him suggested he had money, or at least stability. But his face said something entirely different. He looked lost, broken, like someone who had just had their whole life collapse in front of them. Elena hesitated. She had nothing: no food, no cash, no transportation, but she still felt compelled to check on him. Maybe it was because she knew what invisible pain looked like. Maybe it was because she knew what it felt like to have no one notice you. She approached him gently, keeping Lily tucked in her makeshift stroller blanket. "Sir, excuse me. Are you okay?" Her voice shook, partly from cold, partly from fear. She didn't want to bother him, but she also couldn't walk away. He looked up in surprise, eyes red like he'd been crying. I'm fine. Just a rough day." His voice cracked, betraying him. She nodded, understanding more than he knew. "I don't have much," she whispered, "but if you need someone to talk to, I'm here." The man stared at her like he couldn't process what she had said. He glanced at her coat, too thin for the weather, at the stroller, blankets wrapped around a small, sleeping child, at her hands, raw and chapped from the cold. And then he saw her wallet sticking halfway out of her pocket, open enough for him to notice it was empty. She, someone who had nothing, was offering support to him. He felt something twist in his chest, something heavy and sharp. Shame, gratitude, realization that he cleared his throat. You don't even know me." She smiled sadly. "Sometimes strangers care more than the people who know you." And then she walked away, pushing Lily's stroller into the cold night, thinking nothing more of it. She didn't expect him to follow. She didn't expect him to run inside, buy food, blankets, and warm drinks. She didn't expect him to search the parking lot until he found her sitting on the sidewalk beside a flickering street lamp, trying to soothe her daughter's hunger with whispered lullabies. That's when he knelt in front of her, holding the hot chocolate. Emotions surged through her, too powerful to contain. I can't accept this," she whispered, her voice shaking. "You don't owe me anything." He shook his head. "You tried to help me when you had nothing. That means everything." She stared at him, confused. "Why were you upset? You look like you lost something important." He swallowed hard. "My mother. She passed this morning." His voice broke. "She used to say the measure of a good life is how we treat people who can't give us anything back." Elena's breath hitched. "She would have liked you," he whispered. He handed her a warm blanket, draping it over Lily's small shoulders. The child stirred, opening sleepy eyes before burrowing deeper into the warmth. Elena placed a shaking hand over her daughter's chest, overwhelmed. The man reached into his coat, pulling out a business card. "My name is Daniel. I don't want to insult you by assuming what you need, but I can help. A hotel tonight. Food. A job if you want one. I own a few small businesses. You don't have to struggle alone. Her eyes filled again. Why would you do this? Daniel looked at her the way someone looks at light after months of darkness. Because you reminded me what kindness looks like. Because you saw me when I felt invisible. And because you helped me when no one else did. Elena covered her mouth, sobbing quietly. Relief, gratitude, hope all crashing at once, for the first time in months. She felt something she thought she had lost forever. A chance. Lily, half asleep, reached out and took Daniel's finger, gripping it tight. And in that small gesture, warm hand to cold hand, everything changed.